applications and has to do with it too.
They've changed it, they moved it later, they moved it on down. Goals and ambitions, I'll get you in just a minute. It used to be part of number 6.
Yeah.
It's now part of 7 after it's been verified
Okay.
for the board of review. Anyway, it's taken down to the scout office, the application and the project workbook, where it was Merlinda, and it's changed within this week, and I don't know who's doing it. Katie, Katie left.
Kay left too, so it might be temporarily Jessica, who's the financial clerk at the same time, so she can't do that forever. So they've got someone else coming in though, I think.
But they will verify the dates, the merit badges that's listed on the Eagle application based on what's in the computer on that.
And actually, you don't have to wait that way. I know very often we brought it down earlier, so if there's any problems, especially when there's some time urgency, as long as it's 21 merit badges, they'll look at it and approve that part of it early too. if they want.
Right, yes. And it is, and I mean, it's rare that they may not have anything to do there at the front desk, but there have been instances where they approve it right there on the spot.
And by the way, it's changed a lot, but 20 years ago, it wasn't a given that those 21 merit badges were actually reported.
Yes,
They had stacks of advancement forms, 6 inches high, and they had to go through every one of them.
yes.
Things are a lot better now.
And we always kept, I remember when I was scoutmaster, there were a couple instances where the scout had the environmental science merit badge, but they didn't have a record of it at the council office in that stack of papers. Well, here's the blue card, or again, or the rank advancement. I remember one scout, the council office never had it, he was a first-class scout. So, again, goes down to the council office and it gets approved. Once the counts are verified, is the word. Once the Eagle application is verified, the council will call the unit advancement person and say, okay, Johnny Jones's Eagle application has been approved and verified. Come down and pick up the application and his Eagle project workbook. And now you can schedule an Eagle Board of Review. Yes, sir.
Before we move on the verification process, for example, we moved, being military or foreign service, we've moved in 7 councils in the last 10 years, and with various, so blue cards count first, then the advancement cards, and then the book, as far as verification aspects of approving that out.
Yes, but they also tie, the council also ties into the national computer.
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes it's down,
I mean, theoretically, that's the way it's supposed to work.
right.
But
But if you have the blue
if you have
cards,
the blue card,
they just take them right away.
Scout is trustworthy,
Right.
and we believe it.
You know, the internet advancement that I fill out when I get awards, is that a national database or is that a council database?
It's a national database.
National.
Okay, so people that move from council to council, then
Right. It is
all should
national.
still be there.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we have that.
Well, as I've moved from council to council, and as I've had scouts move from council to council, one of the things that we've done, that we found to be successful, is we go to the council office and ask for a printout of the scouts' history, and that's,
We
and
do that a lot.
it's official. It, other councils will recognize it as being a printout, and both for myself and for others, that's been found to be a very useful thing to do.
Yeah, I'll go to the sure, and I prepared some.
Yes, yeah.
And they can also get that information off of Troopmaster.
We had one instance where we had a little issue because, the scout joined, and then he went to a snow ski merit badge class, and then he got his scout, badge a couple weeks later, or, a couple meetings later. And so the merit badge, the snow ski sport merit badge, which counted towards the rank of Eagle, was actually after, and a lot of times they use the scout rank badge as the joining date. And that, so it nulled the ski sport, so we actually had to go to the book, where he wrote in, this is my first day meeting. And went to that because the joining date had to be earlier than that first merit badge.
Yes. There's extenuating circumstances
Yeah.
all through the program. All right. So, the council is called the unit's advancement person. Come down and pick up the application, it's been verified. At that time, the unit advancement or the unit leader calls me, and only me, to schedule a board of review. Don't have your scout call me because I won't talk to him. The unit leader will call me and schedule and ask for a board of review. And those, it's not every one of you will know me. We try and get it in on your, when you want it. Unless, we've done 17 Eagles so far this year for 2.5 of us. So we've been pretty busy. But we will do our very best to get it scheduled your first choice on it. But again, the unit advancement person or the unit leader calls me, and we schedule the board of review. Okay, while we are working on scheduling between beginning to return, the Eagle application has been verified, and the board of review, what does the scout do? The candidate. First, the scout asks for letters of reference. And on the Eagle application, there are 6 spots for references. What is ma'am?
How many, you said 6, but like, can they be from when he was a Cub Scout, or do you want him more when he's,
If the Eagle candidate works,
okay,
he has to have 6 letters of reference.
okay.
If the Eagle candidate doesn't work,
Mhm.
5 letters of reference.
Okay.
Now, they can be from anybody,
Okay.
but they just changed it last year on holding, we used to go, well, if they get 3, that's good, or whatever.
Right.
But National has changed it, and now if they're working, they need 6 letters.
Okay.
If they're not working, they need 5. However, a scout should not be penalized if he asks Mr. Smith for a reference, and Mr. Smith doesn't do it. Okay?
Let me explain the way that I did it with my troop, is I handled all that. I had a form, basically a form letter, I sent that letter out, with return address back to me. So it came back to me, I also had their email and their phone, because I required that from our scout when I got the list. So if like a week before about 2 weeks before the board, or a week and a half before the board, I asked the scout or their parents, I haven't heard from Mr. Smith, he was one of your references, could you check on him? If I don't hear, about a week ahead, I'll send him an email, and then I'll call him before that. Now, I don't think I've ever had to call anybody, but I've had people basically deliver it to my house, like the night of the, but that is, I was Eagle coordinator, so that was completely out of the scouts' hands. And I really suggest and recommend that's the way to do that,
Okay.
because that way, you have those letters, you bring them unopened to the meeting, open them up there, so, if you get them from the scouts, and I've actually accepted emails. It's not preferable, but, at least you've accepted emails from us, it's just when it's been, so, I think that's something that, you might wanna consider whether you do that, by one of the adults in the unit, rather than have the scout do that. Have the scout give you a list of, and make sure they do things like put the area, the zip codes on there, and, because I've had it more than once, run around and find what's the zip code on this one. And that was when they had phone books, and I don't have phone books, so I don't know how I would do it. But I would really hardly recommend that you take care of those letters and take that out of the scout's hand. The scout and his parents have more than enough things to do.
Sure.
I did the same thing, with the difference that I opened the letters before the board of review, because was quite often I'd make a copy of each of them, so the board members had more than one copy of the letters to read, rather than passing them around.
And that is just something that we let slide on the district level. According to the law, they're supposed to be sealed.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay,
Until the
I-
minute we sit down and do this, convene the board.
The last meeting I did of the advancement
Yes.
guy didn't have that in it explicitly.
Well, it has changed, you know.
Yeah. I know, but you were saying, so you're required to request 6 letters, but you say you can't penalize a scout if one doesn't come back.
Right.
So is there a minimum number that have to come back?
No?
Okay.
There are 4 required, right? Parent, educator.
Educator.
Teacher and 2 others.
Teacher and, well, educator and,
2 others.
your employer if you're working, and then, religious leader.
2 others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when we have the Life Eagle seminar, in a couple of weeks, each attendee will get a sample of an envelope that one of the units in the district hands out with the reference letter. And it's addressed back, it's just really nice. It's addressed to the unit advisor, or the unit advancement chair, or whatever. So, Mr. Smith, here, please write me a reference letter for me to become an Eagle Scout, and here's the envelope, put it in there, seal it, and it's already stamped and mailed back. Each person attending the seminar will have a sample of an envelope that they can use. It just makes it nice. So, the application's been verified by the council. The Eagle candidate has requested his letters of reference. Now it says on number 7, state your goals and ambitions. Used to be its own category, number 6, but now it's after the Scoutmasters Conference, with goals and ambitions. We don't want a novel. Page and a half, 2 pages double spaced is more than enough. But the advancement board wants more than 1 paragraph. So what do we do? What are we looking for in its goals and ambitions? It's literally what it says it is. This is what scouting has done for me. I want to pursue this. If it's an older scout, getting ready to go to college, then they may be stating they want to go to New Mexico Tech and be an engineer because Uncle Jim was an engineer or whatever reason. Or, I'm only 14 and a half years old, I don't know what I want to do. But I enjoy scouting and I want to continue on to scouting. That's their goals and ambitions. Explaining to them in written form and neatness counts on what they want to do, what they've learned in scouting. Also included in this, we want to know what they do outside of scouting. This just helps us with the board of review to talk to them about what they do and their maturity and what scouting has taught them. Some boards, some goals and ambitions that I have read, I asked the scout right up front, how did you find time to become an Eagle Scout? Because they are so busy. There's no right or wrong things to say, there's no minimums, but we want something to be able to talk to the scout about, and the board members will see what the scout's plans are, how they're gonna get those plans, and what they do outside of scouting. That's all done while the scout is waiting for done before the Eagle Board of Review. It is strongly recommended that the scout writes it up and presents it to you as his unit leader, just to kind of go over it, to make sure there's not any hiccups or bumps along the road.
And this is something the Scoutmaster went over with the Scout, at the Scoutmaster
It
conference.
used to be at the Scoutmasters
But it can
Conference.
still be.
It can be, yes.
I think that's still a good idea, because that kind of opens up a lot of other ideas.
But the way it's listed on the Eagle application, the Scoutmasters Conference is now number 6. And then number 7 is the Board of Review
date on the Eagle application?
As far as the,
The date on the form,
There's a-
oh, it's 2015,
okay.
yes. It's 2015. They have not come up with the 2016. They have not changed it on it, but yes, it
It
is.
might help to make sure that.
Well, no, I've got 2016 printing. The Eagle form number is 512-728, 2016 printing.
Yeah. So make sure that you've got the 2016 printing, because you may very well have an old form around. So,
Or when you get to it, make sure it's the current one.
Yes.
right, the current one is.
And for the Eagle project also. Make sure it's the current form. So, between the approval of the Eagle application and the Board of Review, the Scout has requested reference letters. The Scout has written its goals and ambitions. And the Unit Advancement Chairperson has scheduled with me an Eagle Board of Review. So we have the Eagle Board of Review. It must be unanimous. My team members, my advancement team members, and I have talked to them, nobody turns down a Scout for the rank of Eagle. However, they may not be ready for the rank of Eagle at that moment. They may need to do a little extra work before they're approved. So they're not turned down or not approved for the rank of Eagle. Okay, you got everything going for your rank of Eagle. If you do this, like rewrite your goals and ambitions or whatever, we'll reconvene at another time and go ahead and finish your Board of Review. We don't turn them down. There's an appeal process, but we have yet to we haven't turned anyone down. And there's very few times that they're not approved based on, for some reason. And I have had some scouts, well, you need to finish this and come back, or shoot, scouts show up without a uniform on, and all kinds of things. We don't turn them down, but we postpone the ultimate decision for a later date. So the Scout has his Board of Review. Scout leaves the room. The members of the board discuss the Scout's maturity, what they think of the Eagle project, what he learned, discuss it. Everybody votes on whether or not to approve this Scout for the rank of Eagle. BSA says only 4% of the boys who join Scouting actually obtain the rank of Eagles. Actually, the percentage is 3.4%. Not everybody who joins Scouting becomes an Eagle. The board decides that the Scout deserves the rank of Eagle. They bring the Scout back into the board, and either the district representative, the chairman of the board, or somebody will let the Scout know that they passed, and they are now officially an Eagle Scout. Once that is done, the committee chair will sign the Eagle application. The district representative will sign the Eagle application. All members will sign the Eagle book if the unit requires that they have an Eagle or a Scout handbook. There is a 3-part NCR form that the district representative will have, that everybody will sign and fills out. Little Johnny Jones became the rank of Eagle. This form is the only, Eagle rank is the only rank this form is used for. And again, it's a 3-part NCR paper. It's all signed, everything's filled out. And it's put into an envelope. And my envelope's in the briefcase, I'll show you. Goes in this envelope is a signed and approved Eagle application, the advancement form, and the reference letters. The scout does not get to see or read the reference letters. It will all be put in this envelope, everybody will sign the envelope, the DR will, sign the back of it or the seal or whatever, and it goes down to the council office. At the council office, they will take out everything, the reference letters will be destroyed, and it will be sent on to national for national's approval.
So you don't need the ambition letter in that?
Yes, you
package?
need the ambition letter, no,
Not in that package you go
no,
through?
you don't need it in the packet.
So the letter never goes to the council office?
It goes in ambitions,
Yes.
right, it does not go anymore. It will go to the national office. Say tonight, April 14th, we did an Eagle Border review, and the scout passed. This is the date that scout became an Eagle Scout. Even though it still has to go to national, it has to be recorded, sent back to the council office before the Eagle parents can go buy the Eagle memorabilia and rank advancement, or rank badges for the rank of Eagle. But today's date will be the date they became an Eagle Scout, be the date of the board. Whether it takes 2 weeks to get it back from national, or 3 days. Today is the day when they have it. But your job as a unit leader is to make sure that the board review goes through without any hiccups, bumps in the road, that Scout has a good time. I did an Eagle Border review one time, the Scout brought in 5 pizzas, and there was only 3 of us.
Is that called bribes?
Mm-hmm.
The state of New Jersey?
You work too, you know, New Jersey. But, you know, drinks and so forth, you know, but again, your job is just to make sure that the scout is comfortable going into the border review, they're not scared to death, and they have a successful border review. Yes,
You mentioned signatures of committee chair and advancement chair. Coincidentally, the last 2 boards we've been on, both of those have been there. How important are those signatures if those 2 individuals aren't there on the board for that night at the meeting?
any person can be the chairman of that board.
Yeah, I don't think you make committee chair.
It's the board chair.
Board chair,
Okay,
board
yeah.
chairman of the board chair, yes.
And so who are the 2 required signatures from the board?
The board chair, it's like,
So
the board chair, say that, John Smith was sitting on the board, and the district representative.
Okay, so those 2,
Those are the 2 signatures are required on the Eagle application.
Who's the second signature if the unit decides to have the district representative chair the board?
You just get somebody on the chair,
Anybody else?
on the committee, yes. Mhm. That's fine.
oh, and I had one other little small question. That was a good example of the guitar teacher. Are they allowed to be on the board, or can they sit back with, let's say, a scoutmaster's in, not participating, but they're just observing? Can these
In our
community
case,
members?
we actually let that individual be part of the board.
Okay, so
I don't know if
That's a better way,
Yeah.
you can be a board member.
Yes, they can be a board member.
It's not a spectator sport.
And some new scout leaders, new scoutmasters, want to sit on the Eagle board just so they can see what they're like.
I didn't know I was scoutmaster, I was doing scoutmaster conferences for Eagle, and didn't know what the scout was gonna be seeing. So I sat in on one of the boards, a fly on the wall,
Yes,
so I could better counsel in the future.
And in fact, next month or so, there's gonna be Scoutmaster Conference and boards of review, so we're maybe jumping. I would always invite one of the new parents in, at any of the boards.
Oh, yeah.
You know. And it might also be good to invite one of your life parents in, to see how it's done.
yes.
I think we got kind of a sticky issue, and that has to do with, Scout is Reverend and the, you know, I am afraid this is gonna become more of a problem in the future, as our scouts are less and less go to church. Would you give us a bit of your philosophy on it? I know I'm very familiar with it because we've been on so many boards. What's your philosophy on this? What does it take and, you know, how do you grow
Yes,
this?
we approached the subject by asking the scout, do you believe in a supreme being? And generally, I have had answers, yes, I believe in God. I have had one eagle tell me they believe that the humans on Earth were an experiment from an alien race. I'm serious. That was an answer that I had received. So, when it first came out, and when the new advancement policies came out, it comes right out and says, what does duty to God mean to you? And I have seen in the past, if this Eagle Scout candidate is a Buddhist, then we have a whole different situation. So we just discussed, do you believe in a supreme being, and how does that supreme being affect your daily life? Most of the time you'll get, yes, we believe in God.
And I would also caution that if sort of people on the board, that the scout's viewpoint may be quite different than theirs, and not to judge a scout who basically uses some of these examples as compared to, well, you know, I go to church every Sunday and, you know, whatever. Every scout's a little different, and I know some people have very strong viewpoints, and you have to be very open-minded in this. You know, probably more open-minded than you may want to be personally, but.
Yes, because again, it's for the scout, and it's what they feel and how they believe, not what you feel, but how the scout believes.
Rick, if you get the answer no, then does that kick you into a mode where you're counseling them to maybe go think on this and reconvene the board?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Or you break the board, you say, let's have take a break for a few minutes and think it over a little bit. My son was in that situation. His Eagle Board review lasted about 2 hours. With Ken Flack, as you know, Ken Flack is the committee chair, and was the chair, and,
yes.
you know, because it was a constant going back and forth. That's why that's why it's important to me to bring this point up.
Yes. Take a break and reconvene.
And some of you may have to talk to some of the parents and get an agreement among them, or the members of the board.
Hopefully, Scoutmasters catch that during Scoutmasters conference.
And that's what's,
right.
yeah, and that's what's so important, is that,
That's why
you know,
they
That you do that.
Makes it easier on the board, the scoutmasters.
and then the boy knows you know, that he's possibly gonna be asked this question, so he'll then prepare for it. You know, instead of being cold, no, I don't believe, well, you know, most boys do believe, but it's, you know, if you say, do you believe in God, they may say no, but if you couch it in the words that Rick said, you know, most people have some belief in something other than themselves.
Right, yes.
Well, maybe just to clarify a little bit, I believe I read maybe several years ago in Scout magazine or something like that. It's a requirement, can you verify this, that a scout have some belief in some power beyond himself or herself, or believe in God. Is that correct? Or am I remembering incorrectly?
Well,
And I guess I'm asking that question because I'm trying to tie it into this discussion here. If a scout just says they do not have a belief in a higher power or whatever, I mean, is that the end of the road, or what do we do?
12th point of the scout law, scout is reverent. Have the scout explain what that means.
Okay. So even reverence towards nature.
It could be,
Reverence towards
could be a
nature.
druid.
Well, we had a district representative a few years ago who worked with him at summer camp. He didn't come back to town because he was gonna help a Wiccan organization set up a scout unit. So that was sufficient.
So ask him, what is the scout do?
If you look online or someplace, you can find the Scouts' statement of religious principles state that. I think if you read all the fine print on the beginning pages of the applications, either the adult or the boy, it has a statement in there that premise of scouts is that they believe in a supreme being. And that's about as detailed as it gets.
Yes.
You sign that when you join.
You sign that when you join, yeah.
Benny?
Yeah, I noticed, I was reading that they made some changes on the Scoutmaster conferences, and one of the things that they were recommending is that we start asking about their spirituality, all the way from the first Scoutmaster conference, you know, at
Yes.
Tenderfoot. So you shouldn't be surprised, you should be, hopefully as a Scoutmaster, starting to see a trend, hopefully, or you get an idea of what they may say before they go before the board review.
Now, on the advanced lines, it's not really part of the Scoutmaster Conference, it's sort of a requirement above the Scoutmaster Conference. when they list it. So I'm not sure who signs that off in most troops,
Well, let's go through the,
but the Scoutmaster Conference is one thing to do.
yes, all through the Scout, the Trail to Eagle.
That's right, starting by the Scoutman,
True, brother.
where your boys were working to the new requirements.
Yes. And again, just make it fun. I try and make it, a little levity with the scout when he comes in, because they're sitting there just like this. And, make it an enjoyable experience, because it should be.
You have a recommendation of how many, on our last Court of Honor, we had, our entire committee wanted to be a part of it, so we had 9, in that.
The 9 of the, on the Eagle Board?
Yeah, you recall it was during a committee meeting, at 14.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
everyone in
oh.
the committee was there, and I wanna make sure, we got 3 more lined up, and I wanna make sure if that's what you want or not.
we don't want it to be intimidating, no. That was,
So the-
that was an extenuating
The
circumstance.
advancement guide has an upper limit, I forgot if it's 5 or 7.
That's
So
too many.
it requires 3, and either 5 or 7 is the maximum.
Yes.
And what I always did, if 3 were required, I always invited 1 extra when I organized them, in case one of our guys gets a flat tire or something.
Right,
So I'll just let our advancement chair know, look
but
at
just,
the
yes,
Yeah.
we don't want it to be,
But the guide in
Overwhelming,
advancement has explicitly a maximum number.
yes, I remember.
Okay,
Okay.
Rick,
Thank
we
you.
thank you very much for your attention.
You guys got any questions or is any from, or anything comes up, why